Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video and it's been a couple of days, you know what I mean? Every single day seems to be another dramatic turn of events in this roller coaster called Rangers Football Club, and it's been absolutely relentless. I don't know how you've been dealing with it. Myself, I've started taking up golf. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Started 10 days ago, got my first birdie yesterday. Thank you, I'm absolutely buzzing with it. But aye, I know you're not here for that. You want to talk about Rangers, so let's get sad. But in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, there is a hell of a lot of topics to actually discuss today, and a little game that's actually happening. You know what I mean? In between all the madness and all the hysteria that's actually out there almost on a 24-hour basis, there is a very important domestic cup competition in the next 24 hours. So we're going to discuss that, and we'll discuss all the bells and the whistles as well. So aye, follow me ladies and gentlemen as we go ahead and discuss what is the League Cup match coming tomorrow versus St Johnstone. And that means we start off with the old oppositional preview by having a look at St Johnstone, who coming into this game on the back of a fantastic win. Must be nice. And you know, it's probably fitting and maybe ironic that we are playing a St Johnstone side coming into where we are, with a lot of the questions and the frustrations of people's and approaches to game and energy and work rate, what we've got in terms of certain players being selected. If you actually look at the St Johnstone side, one question they certainly won't have is the willingness, the energy and the work rate from all of their players, no matter if they're starters or coming on from the bench tomorrow. They are here and they are a bunch of grafters. And I'm not being disrespectful with that term. In fact, if you give me the next couple of minutes, you'll see it's actually a bit of a compliment, because I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Craig Levein, you know what I mean? Some of his stuff he done as Scotland manager still to this day absolutely perplexes me, so I'm not his biggest fan in terms of his management. But at the same time, if you look at the job that he's came into and what he's been able to do and the plates that he's having to spin with his back truly up against the wall, with a wage budget that probably couldn't afford Alfredo these days, you know what I mean? He's actually done pretty damn well, because it wasn't too long ago that this St Johnstone side was going ahead and winning 2 cups, you know what I mean? We all remember that fantastic season for other reasons, but for them, they went ahead and won 2 domestic cups. St Johnstone used to have genuine quality in their starting 11, but every year since then, those quality and those difference makers, those game changers, if you will, has been slowly but surely peeled away, picked and plucked to go and play for other sides, and that's a difficult hand to actually be dealt, you know what I mean? And Craig Levein's came in after a couple of years of that, you know what I mean? The guy that won the 2 cups ended up getting sacked. There was a lot of messes going around. Levein's came into the place where there's very little of that 11, and he's went ahead and lost even more of those in terms of Liam Gordon, who again for me I spoke about in the Motherwell preview. Absolutely fantastic. You can say what you want about him, but again for St Johnstone, he was so important when they went ahead and won 2 cups, and for me even more vital to keep them in the league when everybody else sort of left and went to greener pastures. He stayed there and kept St Johnstone in the league year after year after year, and he played a big part in that. But again, he's gone as well, which is why, again, you look at it and say, alright, so they've lost even their captain now. They've even lost lesser guys, but still had impact, like the likes of Chrissy Kane. You had Ryan McGowan, who came in last season and played over 30 games for them at centre-back. They are still bleeding out players and losing players, yet they come into this game fully confident and playing good stuff. How? Well, we're circling back to something we said nearly a minute ago. It's the way they actually approach and the attitude of these players. Absolutely zero ego, and every player will run their arse off. There's no strops, there's no moans. Every player knows that they need to chase every single shadow on that park and run over every blade of grass, and they do it every single game. Again, they are a team full of grafters, and sometimes if you graft like that, you get fantastic results, as we play a side tomorrow that's coming to our home game in terms of Hampden. St Johnstone have another away day, and if they follow it like last week, we could be in real trouble, as St Johnstone come in to this away day on the back of a phenomenal result, and I'd say the best away performance so far this season. Yes, it's early, but someone needs to be up there, as they went to Rugby Park and absolutely scanted Kilmarnock 3-0. Now, Cali fans and other people trying to explain away that result, considering Kilmarnock got an early red card, and trust me, as a Rangers fan, I understand how a red card can ruin an entire game plan. I'm no getting into it right now. But at the same time, if you look at the way St Johnstone approached the game, and again, no disrespect to Kilmarnock, but us going down to 10 men in a Champions League qualifier, Kilmarnock going to 10 men in the domestic league at home versus St Johnstone is a slightly different kettle of fish, because if there is one of the few teams that I'd expect to be able to handle losing a player and be able to tidy up the ship and to keep it tight at the actual back, you're looking at the likes of Kilmarnock and you're looking at the likes of Derek McKinnon. So I actually give credit, because an already tough job of going to Rugby Park versus a defensive Kilmarnock side that can hurt you on the counter was given the licence to sit even further back at home and maybe have more excuses to defend, and St Johnstone still got beyond that and penetrated them 3 times for, again, a fantastic win. So I have to give them respect, ladies and gentlemen. Even their opening day loss to Aberdeen, which was obviously at home, they got beat 2-1. They still had over 15 shots in that game, despite what's left the football club and what little, if you will, in terms of what they've actually brought in. I mean, maybe their biggest name signing or anything like that was still another free transfer. I mean, they've not spent anything at all this summer, despite losing their captain, despite losing these important pieces. Ikpeazu is actually injured till about the 30th of September, apparently. You know what I mean? So he's even not got that, yet they're still performing, getting shots off and looking dangerous. So aye, energy, work rate and grafting is what we face tomorrow. Let's hope we bring all 3 to the actual table and get back to playing football, or again, it could be a frustrating one. And if I'm honest with you, that's all I've really got to say regarding St Johnstone and the very, very unique, difficult test I feel like we face tomorrow. Because again, you're looking at a place where we are as a football team where the crowd's going to be what it is, whether it's full, whether it's half full, whether there's protests outside, whether there's frustration, whether there's statements, whether there's anger, whether there's banner, where there's all that stuff right there, there is still a game of football to actually go on. And if there's one manager that knows how to set up his team to make very little room and make very little spaces and could set his team up to park the bus, it is Craig Levein, especially with this young St Johnstone side, this hard-working St Johnstone side. The game plan couldn't be any more in front of Craig Levein. He couldn't have asked for anything more as an opposition manager gone to play Rangers. 1, you're not playing them at home. 2, you're playing them at a time where the fans and everything are absolutely infuriated by the decisions made by the board. So if you can keep it tight for 15, 20, 25 minutes, what will already be an unnervy, frustrated, angry crowd will only get worse. And that's where the danger is right there, ladies and gentlemen. The likes of Josh McPake as well was obviously now playing for St Johnstone, a guy that Stephen Gerrard thought very highly of, formerly obviously of our youth academy. He's got a wee bit of son. You've got Jack Sanders that came from Kilmarnock, big on his centre half, has got an eye for a goal as well from set pieces. So we'll need to be on it the more, and I really hope the players actually go in fully focused and not distracted or feeling sorry for themselves because of the European hangover, because again, it couldn't set up any nicer to play Rangers, and that makes me feel sick to actually say. But it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the embarrassing way we've limped into this season, that we're giving the likes of St Johnstone a bit of belief. Heard about Craig Levein fancying this. It should never be there. It wasn't too long ago that Gerrard got a factor back, the fear factor back into this football club, but it's not really there right now. And again, we really need to be on the ball and make sure they didn't take anything from this first half, or it could get really frustrating, could get even uglier, and it could get more of the old grey hairs. But again, St Johnstone will be who they will be, a hard-working, grafting squad. Will this Rangers team be what they could be, which is actually a very good side that should be able to put this team to the sword? I guess tomorrow will tell us. And with that being said, that's reached the end of the St Johnstone side. Let's get to the Rangers then, shall we? And this used to bring us joy, you know what I mean? It used to be something exciting about. We could talk about this, we could talk about that, but every single time now it seems like it's drawn the life for every one of us. And I don't think any of us want to actually sit here and do this, but I can't lie to you and sit here and think I've no thought that this is a made up reality and my name's Truman and this is the Truman Show, because every single time I go on to Twitter via a notification for Rangers, it's an absolute disaster, because as you know, I didn't actually go on Twitter unless I know there's a signing getting done, or of course it is match day and we usually have our wee laughs, whether I'm at the game half time, blah blah blah, or I tweet through the game, especially that's only 2 times. I didn't read anything, everything's muted, I don't check nothing on anything like that because it's absolute crazy. 90% of Twitter's bots these days, and all it's just negative crap, so I only pay attention to Rangers. That's the only notification I get on the old watch ladies and gentlemen. But every single time right now seems to just be another damaging, frustrating, more importantly draining aspect, because just this week alone, from Wednesday to where we are right now on Friday, there's been the court case malarkey with our previous kit manufacturer and us doing this wrong and us doing this wrong. Apparently a settlement was in place last week, but we didn't do even that right, so now that's up in the air again. I'm no lawyer, I'm not going to pretend to be either, by the way, you know what I mean? I know there is a lot of people that pretend to be, but I'm no, so I'm not going to dive into that because I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, you've also got the other story that apparently happened this week where we hired a guy that was the head of marketing, and his digital footprint certainly suggested he absolutely despises Rangers with every fibre of his being and clearly loves and supports Celtic, which is fine. You can support who you want, but some of the stuff that he apparently said and some of the screenshots that's actually out there is crazy, and some of the stuff he did say about the football club, he can't be anywhere actually near it. But it's unbelievable that stuff's no actually coming up in his screening test. He's still getting hired. The man was hired and fired 2 days later, ladies and gentlemen, got paid out his full contract, apparently, if that's actually to be true. And that, again, is a shambles. Why does it take for guys and getting a position for people on Twitter to find the facts rather than the people that's actually in the building hiring and paying and spending the club's money on stuff? You know what I mean? The inmates are clearly running the asylum off the actual park, and it's an absolute frustrating mess, and it's topic after topic, mistake after mistake right now, and it's draining, as we've already mentioned. I mean, again, we are 24 hours away from a cup game right now, a massive cup game. We are not playing well. We've just been knocked out the Champions League. All eyes should be on this game and getting the win, but what is the eyes? Where is everyone's focus? What's dominating the news? Is it this game? Is it this? Nah, it's Old Firm ticket allocation, because Celtic aren't giving us tickets to September Old Firm. Why? Because we apparently haven't done the right stuff or put procedures and can't give assurances to Celtic that they are getting their allocation at Ibrox for the game in January. Now, people could say who's right and who's wrong and anything like that. I'm not really caring. It's tit for tat crap. There's been 3 statements over the last 48 hours, one from Celtic, one from Rangers, and then again the day one from Celtic. It's really boring. It's back and forth crap, in my opinion. I'm no one to get involved with, but what we need to actually draw a line in, ladies and gentlemen, is to say right now, as it stands, no matter what this is, or the speculation of what's wrong with that, right now, no Rangers fans will be at the away game for Celtic in the September matchup of the Old Firm. That's the cold hard facts. I know a guy in my position should be rinsing this for views and firing out video after video every time there's a statement, because again, it's the Old Firm, it'll get loads of views, that's what you're supposed to do. But again, I didn't care about that stuff, you know what I mean? I'm not a journalist. I didn't want to be a journalist, ladies and gentlemen. I'm no a media guy. I've had the chance to be. I've said no several times. I didn't want to be. I like sitting here talking to you guys about football. I like being my own guy, being able to say my right things, whether they're right or wrong. It's about the conversation, and that's what we have right here. And for me, that's all I'm going to say on the matter right now, because again, that's the cold hard facts. You could speculate on this, go the rumours with this, but right now there is no away fans. If it changes, we'll certainly go ahead and talk about it, but those are just a couple wee incidences of what I'm talking about. There's just so much mess in this football club. 90% is off the field, and on the field's no pretty right now, which is crazy. But again, there's just mere stuff out there, but it underlines something, and I guess I'll wrap up this point, because again, I know there's going to be a lot of people want to talk about the 3 major subjects. Again, when there's definite answers to each of them, we'll sit and talk about them, but right now there's speculation, allegation, blah blah blah. There's no point in it. Where I sit right now is there's clearly people in this football club that shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? They might have the right intentions, they might be trying their best, but they're simply not good enough. We need experienced people that knows how to run a football club, how to run certain sections of a football club and get it going in the right direction. All these mistakes, you mean the 2 mistakes we've already talked about today should be enough for the entire season to look back and say, oh, that's embarrassing. It's been 2 days, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? We need better in the right positions, but there doesn't seem to be any light to the end of that tunnel, and that's a real frustration. But again, I want to pull it away from all that stuff. I want to get back to talking about the football, because again, we are less than 24 hours away from a cup game. We've just been knocked out of the Champions League. There is all this mess going on. We're not playing well right now, and there is absolutely zero way we can go into tomorrow's game and put our focus on the actual ball, because if we get knocked out the Mora because we're too caring about all this stuff and there's all this malarkey going actually on, then our season, which has just started just over 2 weeks ago, is genuinely on its knees already. So let's get focused and let's get this game and done with, and let's get a win and try to play some football. And to save everyone their boredom of hearing rebuilds and recruitment and all that stuff talked about, again, we've talked about that enough, so I'm going to skip over a lot of stuff. You don't need me to sit here and say we need to win tomorrow, but I want to dive into a couple of interesting press conference quotes from Phil Clement, who again I still like, but there is questions that need to be asked, and I think that's right. You know what I mean? He's not getting sacked, there's a new contract there, so we're fair to ask some genuine questions, because he came out in this week's press conference defending the way the team's been actually playing, saying we're building a new squad, blah blah blah, it takes time to get up to speed. In fact, let's actually read the official quote. Building a new squad takes time to build the connection between players. I see people working really hard in this building every day. I see the potential and evolution. Do we have things to improve? For sure. Everyone knows this, and we will continue to improve. And look, I understand what he's doing there. He's defending his team. He's trying to make excuses for them. He's trying to have their back. I get it from that point of view, but at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, he's having the backs of players that shouldn't be here at this football club and who have ran their time at this football club. Do you know what I mean? Because we are at a very interesting time where the fans are fed up with what's actually going on. They're sick of being lied to, best in class. Oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. We're sick to death of being lied to. So what the worst thing that then can then happen to a manager we like is to sit and get told absolute drivel, which for me, that type of stuff and those type of excuses actually are. For the reason the performances aren't at the level they should be, it's because we're building a new squad. We're not building a new squad. We were last year under Michael Beale when we made so many starting 11 signings and they were all getting bled into the team, and it was going to take time to adjust to Scottish football to see if they succeed or fail at this level. Unfortunately, the majority of them failed, and so did Michael Beale. Then Clement's came in, now he's got his season, now he's had a couple signings, but the majority of them aren't actually playing. Again, if you look at the opening day of the season, 10 of the starting 11 started and were here last year. Only one new signing. The exact same for the 1-1 draw versus Dynamo Kiev. The exact same statistics. Now, over the last two games, both Motherwell and the 2-0 loss to Dynamo Kiev, we've seen an increase in new players with 3 new players in the starting 11. But again, the vast majority, in those games have been players that's been here for the previous years, with 8 players in those starting 11s that's been here and failed in previous years. So that's where I'm getting confused. That's where I think this is absolute nonsense. And for me, the excuses of why we're not playing well, it's because we're building new chemistries, building new understandings. That should have been done in previous years. A lot of these players have been here for years. The connection should be built, the understanding should be there, but it's no. And do you know why? Because they're just no good enough. I understand Phil's been handed a very bad hand, ladies and gentlemen. I get it. He's been dealt a horrendous hand, and he's dealing with a lot of the mistakes that was previously made with his board, with previous managers. I understand that. But again, what's confusing to me is he's putting his faith and his trust in players that's failed all those previous managers and that aren't good enough. If he was bleeding in the young players like Baylor Rice, Cole McKinnon, Wee Fraser, even Zach Lovelace, Alex Lowry, if all these guys were around the 18 and getting involved in the starting 11 and playing, I would understand it, because I say, right, I see what he's trying to do there. He knows who isn't good enough. He's trying his best with the actual rebuild. I get it, but he's not doing any of that. He's playing the same players that's failed us year upon year upon year. So to then come out and excuse that and say, oh, it's because we're building a new team. I'm not sitting here like Pam for the old office, but it's the exact same picture. So aye, for me, it's nonsense. And again, for me, it's not an excuse to why we're not performing at the level we're actually playing at. It's nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? These players are getting picked week in and week out despite not performing. What used to happen is you used to have to perform to get into a starting 11 on a Rangers team. But that's not there anymore. The standards are at the floor, and that's why the results are as well, in just my personal opinion. But I do want to move away from that, because again, I felt like it was a talking point that needed to be spoken about, because the excuses and that are starting to come out why we are starting so slow. But it's nonsense, in my opinion. You could disagree in the comment section below. You usually do, ladies and gentlemen. But that's how I see it. And I want to move on to the old injuries, right? Because that's something else that we were promised that was going to improve, and it was going to do this, and there was these infrastructures there and these facilities there that wasn't getting used under Beale. Beale's the bad guy. Beale's the bad guy. Beale's the bad guy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are 14 days into the season. Raskin, Cortez, Sterling, Ridvan, Balogun and Scott Wright have all been injured and picked up injuries. Has there been massive improvements there? Have we done anything different? Nah, ladies and gentlemen, it's the exact same. In fact, you could argue it's worse than it was at this point of the last season, which is absolutely mental to think about. But aye, regarding this game tomorrow, which again, a lot of people are actually forgetting, Scott Wright is officially ruled out in the game. Leon Balogun is a doubt, and again, Ridvan got the update. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is why in the summer where I said he is our best defender, he is a better defender than Hefty. However, we should be cashing on him because he just can't get on the actual park, and he's another one that can't get on the park, which is very, very frustrating, and it leaves us with an interesting conversation, an interesting thing to go ahead and talk about regarding the game, because does that mean Hefty's coming in and playing at left back where he's looked a wee bit unsure defensively? Again, he's looked a lot better going forward. Does he get played at left back? Could be a perfect opportunity for him. Or again, St Johnstone might target him with those long searching through balls in behind, which he clearly couldn't scan or mark in terms of pre-season. Or do we see the likes of Ben Davies come in there and play at left back, or Sterling, which would probably be my preference if I'm honest with you, play him there, maybe even Hefty at left wing? But again, we are talking about 2 weeks into the season and we're already trying to plug that and play people out of positions. This wasn't what we were promised at the start of the season and start of the summer, ladies and gentlemen, and you reap what you sow. And again, that's how I feel. We're putting circular pegs in square holes already, and it's very, very infuriating. At least putting some of the young laddies, you know what I mean, the guys that's no had 1,500 chances like some of our players. Oh, they're not good enough. How do we know? What, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here? The players that are actually playing have got 100 appearances, 150 appearances, 50 appearances a season to fail and struggle, yet they get picked. Yet young laddies get chucked on for 5 minutes. Or Baylor Rice doesn't get anywhere near the squad despite being there a year ago. Alex Lowry's scoring goals every week. Even the likes of Hadji, who's out on the cold. Again, these guys aren't getting opportunities for what's in front of them. What's performing? Do you know what I mean? Help ourselves and try to change it before it's too freaking late. And aye, I'm going into tomorrow's game expecting an ugly game. I know exactly how Craig Levine's going to set up. I know it's going to be very tough, but I will predict us to come ahead and get the actual win, which will be absolutely vital with a scoreline of Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0. But yeah, imagine it'll be ugly. Apologies again, that's not the exact filled with optimism and positivity and everything like that. But again, if I sit here and just be like, everything is great, it's not lying. I mean, I actually genuinely care about the people that's tuning in and watching these videos and comments. I know you guys, I see your same names on there. If you click your profile, it shows you how many comments. There's guys that's had 500 comments on this channel. It's incredible, the support. I genuinely want to have a conversation with you guys. I don't want to sit here and lie and pander when the opposite is absolutely true. But again, it can all change with wins. We need to get performances. We need to start picking our heads up, and that starts tomorrow with a very important win versus St Johnstone. Just go ahead and do it. And that's us reached the end of the old video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, how you're feeling with all the mess that's going on, all the stuff that's going on right now. How do you feel as a Rangers fan? Let me know down there in the old comment section below. Another player, by the way, it's just came to my mind, I should have mentioned during the young players, or maybe getting an opportunity to play and everything like that, is Gamani. I know he's doing interesting things with the football, but let's actually see him play football. Let's put him actually in there. Let's see what the kids actually got, because the bar can't get any lower than what we've started this season in. So yeah, maybe play some of the new players in, and then excuses for performances would actually make sense. That's my thoughts and opinions, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know yours down there in the old comment section. Well, let's all hope for a performance tomorrow that we can all get excited and be happy about. But again, unfortunately, as fans, we can't do nothing about that. It's about the manager and the players that he picks to go out and do it. Let's just hope he picks the right ones. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you tomorrow after the game. Have a lovely Friday night. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully enjoy the game. Until then, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.